Alright, so I'm back for part 2. Welcome to part 2 about my thoughts and reactions about E3 2013. So going back to what I was saying, when I actually think of Nintendo, when everybody thinks of Nintendo, what do you actually think of? I'm pretty sure most Nintendo fans out there and most people who actually will actually think of Nintendo, the first thing that will actually come to your mind is actually Mario, Link, and then maybe Metroid or maybe Samus or something like that, or maybe Kirby or Donkey Kong. But then my major issue and major gripe with their conference and what they actually been kind of doing is that it's just been like a kind of pattern to me, in my opinion. Because when I think of Nintendo, I think of not only just Mario typically and Zelda, but I think about those other characters. Like, what happened to those other characters? And I'm pretty sure everybody out there, maybe some of you guys that's actually watching this right now, what do you guys think happened to those other characters? Like, what happened to like, they have multiple characters, and I think that's their biggest advantage. And I think personally, I think that Nintendo actually has the biggest advantage over both Microsoft and Sony, in my opinion, because I'm not going to say just in regards to games. I'm not going to say because of the games and everything like that, and they're probably just their first-party content and stuff. I know they lack third-party content like Call of Duty and Battlefield and everything like that, and those main shooters that are actually, most people are actually playing, like Batman and everything like that. Those are third-party content. But when I actually think of Nintendo, I think they actually have the biggest advantage over both Microsoft and Sony because they have multiple characters. Like, when I think of Nintendo, they have Mario, they have Mario, Luigi, Samus, Link, Wario, Waluigi, Peach, Yoshi, Captain Falcon, Nez, Lucas, Roy, Marth, Ike, all those kind of characters. They have so many characters. Bomberman. What happened to all those characters? They could actually make those characters to actually they could actually make those characters and put them to use. And I think that's the major problem with Nintendo. They're sticking to the same titles, but even though they're actually good titles and everyone wants to see like a new Mario, as all the big Mario fans, I'm actually a big Mario fan myself, and I actually love playing Mario. And I like to see his games every year, and I buy them and I play them. I play them from start to finish and everything like that. But I want to see like a variety of characters, and I think that's where they're really lacking. They're really using the same characters over and over, and they're really kind of I think they're kind of leaning towards Mario and Link, and pretty much Mario and Zelda pretty much too much. And now they kind of just they kind of recently just put Donkey Kong back on the stage, back from the recent release of the Wii, from Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Wii. And then now they came out with another Donkey Kong Country for the Wii U, which is called Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, if I'm not mistaken. And that one looks pretty good too. But where was Kirby? Where's Kirby? Where's the Metroid? Where's those other characters at? Where's Bomberman? I think of the last recent Bomberman game I actually played that was actually great was back on the Nintendo GameCube, the Bomberman Generation game. That was a great game. And then back when Blockbuster used to be still open, I remember actually renting F-Zero for the GameCube. I used to play that, and I used to go to Blockbuster and actually rent that game. I didn't actually own it, but I remember those kind of games, and I think they can really kind of, I think they can really kind of bounce back if they actually kind of use those characters, and instead of just using the same ones over and over and just milking them over and over, and they get kind of tiring. Like, I kind of get tired of them too. But I like the games, don't get me wrong, but I would really like them to actually see just use those other characters and put them to use and kind of put those other characters back on the map. For example, Wario World, that was a good game. Wario World was a game from the Nintendo GameCube, and that was just a step above Wario Land from his recent. Wario Land was like a Game Boy Advance game, but Wario World was actually a step above Wario Land, and they put that on the GameCube. So I thought, why not make a Wario World 2 for the Wii U, or maybe a Wario Land 5 or something like that, or not Wario Land 5, but Wario Land 6 for like the Wii U. It can be called Wario World U or something. And what I kind of noticed is that they could actually, what they actually did, like if you actually take a look at a guy, like the character, Nintendo, undoubtedly, just hands down the best Nintendo character that Nintendo actually has, and pretty much the hope for Nintendo, Mario. Take a look at how they branched him out. They had Mario Kart. Mario was like, he was riding in a cart, he was driving in a cart, he was a piece of paper Mario. He was a piece of paper in Paper Mario. He was in space, Super Mario Galaxy. just for those type of examples, they kind of branched out with Mario. He was in space, he was underground, he was a piece of paper, he was a little baby in Yoshi's Island and stuff. And also Yoshi, I forgot to mention him. They could actually bring him back. They can bring like another Yoshi's Island or Yoshi's Story 2 for Wii U. They can use a lot of characters, and I think if they actually kind of sit down and just say like, wait a minute, we're using the same characters over and over, and we're just pretty much we're throwing out our typical Mario game, we're throwing out our typical Zelda game, this, that, and the other, Zelda and Donkey Kong, and then they just kind of stopped making Kirby for they made Kirby's Return to Dreamland. They brought him back from the recent for the Wii, for like Kirby's Epic Yarn and Kirby's Return to Dreamland, for those two titles. And they could just sit there and say, we're using the same characters over and over. But when we think of, what about our other characters? Where are they? They're not going to be, are they dead? Like, I think that most Nintendo fans are actually thinking about that. All those other characters dead. What happened to Nez? What happened to Captain Falcon? Nez with his own net game. I heard that was a great game. I never played that game before. What happened to Captain Falcon in his F-Zero series? What happened to Nez? What happened to Yoshi with Yoshi's Island, Yoshi's Story, and this, that, and the other? What happened to Wario? They could actually use these other characters and kind of go back to them. Bomberman, they can go back and use him and kind of make a Bomberman Generation 2, or maybe just another upgraded Bomberman game. They have so many characters. Beautiful Joe. They could actually go back and use those characters, and I think that if they actually use those other characters and go back and make them of use and actually make titles for them, they can have a different variety of titles, which should kind of bring in more money for them, but they can actually bring in a newer audience because it's a different variety of titles. And I think they could actually be able to bounce back in this console war if they actually kind of sit down and just take a look at those recent games and go back and just kind of revive those characters and bring them back to the Wii U. But I don't think they're actually going to do that, because they're kind of stuck on Mario and they're stuck on Zelda, pretty much. Those two top games, and then they kind of bringing out Donkey Kong now, and they're putting him back on there and bringing more games for that too. But they can actually use these characters for use, and in my personal opinion, I think that new Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, that could have been a Wii U title instead of a 3DS title, in my personal opinion. And I think it could have been a lot better for it too. But that's just what I think about Nintendo. I think they're really lacking on their other characters and not using those other characters to use in other games. And I think that if they actually use those other characters, they'll be doing a lot better, and they'll be actually in the fight between Microsoft and Sony. And as you guys notice, as they always say, it's all about Sony versus Microsoft when it comes down to console wars. But they always say Nintendo never exists, and that's probably why, because they haven't been really on the ball. It's not vintage Nintendo anymore, and it's always like, I think of it as predictable Nintendo. They're not vintage Nintendo by using a variety of characters and all those multiple titles they used to make back in the day, but they're actually making predictable titles because they already know, like, a new Mario's coming. I even know that a new Mario's coming and a new Zelda's coming for the Wii U, and I think that's where they're really lacking. Even if they don't, I don't think they really need those third-party content titles like Battlefield and Call of Duty, because I think that's where they shine. Because that's where first-party they shine in first-party content titles, and that's just my opinion about it. So I just think that if they go back and use those other characters and revive those characters like Captain Falcon and Yoshi and Bomberman, etc., and other characters, Wario and everything like that, they can really kind of bring in more audience, and they could have done a lot better this year by bringing those titles back. And I think they were kind of really on the sloppy end of things, because they were actually trying to work on things, and they just kind of threw out a couple titles here and there that were pretty much good, in my opinion. 3DS and Wii U. But I think that's where they could have actually really kind of did a lot better this year by using those variety of characters, and hopefully they kind of consider that and just use a variety of characters for the Wii U to make the Wii U just a console worth buying, instead of just sticking to the same titles over and over. So that's just my honest opinion about Nintendo. So I don't really have much to say about Sony that I'm actually going to talk about next. Sony actually did very good this year. I'm not really disappointed with anything, but the only thing that I will actually be disappointed with is just how Kingdom Hearts 3 was actually announced that it was actually going to be multi-plat for the Xbox One, and also Final Fantasy 15 and everything are gonna be on Xbox One as well. But I just kind of personally think that Kingdom Hearts was a great game that was actually for the PS4 and only for the PlayStation as a recent exclusive for the original Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2. But now that I guess they decided to do things differently by giving it making it multi-platform for the newest Xbox, the Xbox One and everything. And that was just pretty much the only thing I was kind of upset with. I love their lineup of title. I love their lineup of titles and games and everything like that released like that, and maybe their price, and their price was actually $400 and $100 cheaper. So I guess that's the way to go for now. But I'm not saying I'm not gonna get an Xbox One, but I'm just gonna say I'll probably wait for a price drop or something. Even with the issues and stuff, but I'll probably get one in the future when the price drops or something. But overall, Sony did really good. I was kind of hoping to see like a new Ratchet, or maybe a Jack and Daxter or something like that, since last year they kind of made like a new Sly Cooper game. But that's stuff like a wish list that I kind of was hoping when I was kind of watching the Sony conference on stream. I was hoping to see like a new Jack and Daxter, maybe a Crash Bandicoot, maybe some of those old series just come back to life, just how they kind of brought back Sly Cooper, like Crash Bandicoot, maybe Spyro the Dragon, Jack and Daxter, Ape Escape 4. I would like to see that for the PS4 as my personal favorite. Just some of those other games, like those classic games from back in the day, but I don't think they were actually gonna. They didn't have that. Unfortunately, they actually didn't show any of those games or anything like that, or no news on those type of games. Except just like the newest titles that they were actually kind of talking about, like Killzone 4, Shadowfall, and then Dryad Club and Knack and everything like that. So those are pretty much my honest opinions about it, and I would actually think that Sony did the best, in my opinion, in regards to the conference and performance and everything like that. And I wouldn't say no one sucked. I wouldn't say anyone sucked this year at this conference, but I think that Microsoft and Nintendo could have did a little bit more better. And I think Xbox really shouldn't Microsoft actually shouldn't actually kind of had those issues with the systems. But those are just what I kind of think about all three of the performances from Microsoft, Nintendo, and then Sony. So I wouldn't actually say there's a winner, but I would honestly say Sony won and actually did the best, in my opinion. But I wouldn't just say, I actually personally like all three conferences anyway, along with Ubisoft and EA and everything. Everybody did their thing. Everybody did good and everything like that. And it's pretty much an exciting year for this year and for the year of 2013 and 2014 in regards to like game titles and everything. I'm excited for it. And I can't wait to see what else can actually be announced. So those are pretty much my opinions about the conferences and everything like that, and all my reactions and honest thoughts. So feel free to actually comment below in the videos. It's actually a two-parter. I didn't expect to actually do the two-part video, but it's gonna be two parts today for my little final thoughts about E3 and everything. So you guys can check it out when you can, and feel free to comment on either one of the videos about your honest thoughts about each conference and what was your favorite games, and maybe what console you're gonna probably get, or maybe something like that. But thanks for watching this video, and again, you guys can just give me your thoughts of what you guys thought about the conferences and this year's E3, maybe your wish list of games that you guys wanted to see, and maybe some disappointments that you guys were upset about, and this, that, and the other. So that's it. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys for more gameplay, and I'll probably just return later this week for like playing more games and doing more playthroughs and stuff. So that's pretty much it. I really enjoyed E3. I hope you guys did too, even if some of the disappointments, regardless of some of the disappointments here and there. But that's pretty much it for this video. So see you guys later.